Welcome. I'm Brisha Kralovic-Logan and the founder of the Women's Woven Voices Project. Welcome to my exhibit hall booth. I'm here as a part of the NGO CSW 65 virtual forum. And I am honored to be here to share the Women's Woven Voices Project, which is an international collaborative art project that supports women as they continue to claim their creative courage and their voice and their power through writing, the art of weaving, and sharing of their stories. So thank you for being here today. My topic of conversation is art as a catalyst for change and empowering girls through art. I want to just take a moment to call attention to art in our world and how art provides us with a language that is so inclusive and that really transcends the limits of some of our other forms of communication. I've been an artist all of my adult life. I work with textiles and fiber. And so this project came from the work that I have done through the years. I worked a lot with young people, and the weaving technique that I chose for this project was something that I taught to children in elementary school, middle school, high school, through summer art camps, just a lot of interaction with young people using this weaving technique. And so from that work, I developed this international project. So the Women's Woven Voices Project was conceived about 3 years ago during a conference that I helped to produce up in Washington State, celebrating the United Nations International Women's Day, which is March 8th every year. And for the conference, we invited 6 local or regional women who were doing wonderful work, wonderful things that were very inspiring. And we invited them to come and tell their stories. And at the end of the conference, it was clear that a strong theme had evolved, that 5 out of the 6 women talked about sexual abuse being a part of their story. And the women who were gathered there, it was about 300 women at the conference, were asked if they had been affected by some kind of sexual abuse or some kind of gender inequity or violence, if they would stand. And I share this every time I speak, because I get chills just every time I put myself back in that room where 300 women, some that I knew and some that I didn't know at all, stood up to claim that that was a part of their story too. And you know, I just think about the courage that it took, first of all, for the speakers that day to share what their experience was. And in the context of just all of the different experiences that they had and grew into being the incredible women that we knew that we had invited to speak. But the courage that it took to share their story, and the courage it took for all of the women in that room to stand up, and then to just have that moment of recognition that this is so incredibly, unbelievably unacceptable. And yet here we were, this entire room full of women. And I knew as an artist that I had to contribute and use my art to add to the energy towards solutions for, this kind of disregard for human sacredness, and to promote through creative and compassionate action, mutual respect and open communication and compassion for each other, for men, women, children, and our planet. So that is really the mission of the project, and it engages the participants in some self-reflection. The participants are invited to really think about their life story, and I provide prompts. I find journaling to be a really helpful tool. And so part of the project is to actually sit down and write. If you go to www.womenswovenvoices.com, the steps of the project are really clearly set out. And under the writing section, there is a meditation that you can play. I invite you to find a quiet place where you can do some self-reflection and set the stage, light a candle, and just to invite your intuitive sense to come out. And I feel like this is something that we can begin doing with girls, with our daughters, with our students, with young women. I remember being in high school and being invited to reflect on some questions about myself in a psychology class. It made such an impact on me that I went on to actually get a degree in psychology and do postgraduate work in psychology. And I can put myself back into that room where someone asked me to really reflect and to write out some of my thoughts and feelings. Some of the writing prompts that I have are, just asking people to think about what their strengths are, really, what some of their great accomplishments are, what has made them feel successful, what are their strengths, what challenges have they faced, and how did they deal with those challenges? And I think even starting with young girls, those questions are good questions for them to think about. Their challenges are going to be different for everyone, of course, in every way. Where you live is going to determine maybe your circumstances. But I do believe that self-reflection is a great tool for girls to begin practicing. I ask people, when do you feel the most wholeness? What are you most proud of? And who are the people in your life that support you? So that's the writing component. And then there is the actual artwork, which is what the topic is, the art of the art as a catalyst for change. So the method that I chose was weaving. And I had, as I said before, I had used this very simple method of weaving with young people for many, many years. And I realized it was something that I could invite people from all over the world to do. And it was so simple that anyone who'd never done anything like it could do. And I'm happy to hear feedback from people saying that is true. So I provide a free Loom Kit. It's straws with string and beads. And when you assemble that, and there are tutorial videos on my website with me just saying, here's how you put this together. It's a little 2-minute video. It's that easy. You come up with a little something that looks like this. And this is a little handheld loom. The strings are the warp that is the center of the fabric. The straws just provide a place for you to weave the weft. And it's as simple as this. And so you can see that this is simple enough for young girls to do. I found that probably 8 years old and up it's been very successful. I have used this, as I said, in many different circumstances. I was just going to share that a couple of years ago, I was teaching a group of young girls and boys, and they were in 5th grade. And I taught them how to do this weaving. And it's such an interesting thing because that's an interesting age. Anyways, this group of rambunctious and spirited 5th grade kids, once they learned how to weave, I found that the sessions that we were doing, which were about 45 minutes long, once they learned how, they would just sit down and just weave. And I provided them with lots of color and texture, and so they were really involved in choosing what colors and textures they wanted to weave with. And the room would just go quiet. There might be a little conversation, and for a half an hour, there would just be this calm weaving going on. And at the end of the session, I would say, "All right, time's up. Time to go on to your next activity." And I actually had this group of kids say, "No, we don't want to. We don't want to leave because we need this. We need this calm, meditative, textural, soothing, rhythmic activity." So it really wasn't even, in the end, they were very excited to share what they had created, what colors they had chosen, and what went into weaving their cloth. But the actual process of it proved to be so important to them. So it's one of the reasons why this talk is focused really on young people and young girls. I'll also say that when I was growing up, I was a Girl Scout, and my story cloth is over here. I don't know if we can focus on that, but it's over here, and right there, I actually added my Girl Scout pin to my story cloth because the experiences that I had as a Girl Scout were very important to me growing up. And so recently I've connected with Girl Scout leaders, also with creating a program for Girls Incorporated, which is here in California. And I've also connected now through the NGO with people who are working with girls through Girls Brigade. And I just want to say that this weaving project could be just a perfect way for girls to engage in telling their story of who they are, of exploring what their strengths are and how it is they deal with challenges, and for building a set of tools for creating, claiming their creative courage and their power and their voice, so that as they're growing up, they have those tools. After the conference that I had, where the project was conceived, I had conversations with quite a few people, and 2 things I really noticed had an effect on me. One was that I would be sharing with women or young people that this subject of sexual abuse had come up in this conference, and that it was so prevalent, and that 300 women rose up to say that somehow they were affected by that. And of course, it doesn't mean that you have to have been brutally raped. There are so many ways that women are exposed to abuse and disrespect, including being brutally raped and murdered. And these are realities that in our culture, it's very difficult to find a safe space to talk about. So back to when I was talking to these people, there was a group of women who would say to me, "I had this experience. I was raped, and I never told anyone. When I was young, this happened in my family, and I never told anyone." And on the other hand, I would be sharing the same, uh, uh, I'd be sharing what my experience had been at the conference. And there would be women who said, I don't know anyone who's ever had any kind of, abuse or sexual abuse. No, I don't know anyone. Clearly, in our culture, the disconnect of what women are experiencing and what the cultural story is, or what the support and system is for us as sacred beings to communicate what our experience is, there's definitely a disconnect. So the goal of this project really is to give women an experience, the writing, the weaving, and the opportunity to share their stories as a way to claim their voice. And I'm inviting people to share the project with their teens, with their youth, with their girls groups, through Scouts, through church, through whatever your family, your daughters, your nieces, your grandchildren, to sit and have the art be a catalyst for sharing stories with each other about our lives and about our strengths. So at this moment, what I'd like to do is just share the topic. So, women, the project, women, men, boys, and girls have been weaving their story cloths. And then I have been stitching them together to create this collective tapestry. And currently I'm sitting with about 300 story cloths stitched together. And I just wanted this moment to just sort of share. I really wish you were here with me in Santa Barbara, California, or that I was somewhere where you could just come in and spend time with this tapestry and see. But I wanted you to just get the full effect. I am surrounded by these woven story cloths, and each one of these strips that you can see was woven by someone. You can see that they have added embellishments that just sort of help tell whatever it is that they want to tell. And you can also see that at the bottom, I've added a red fringe to 3 out of every 4 story cloths. The red fringe represents the statistics of women who are experiencing some kind of gender violence around the world. And as I've been saying repeatedly, I got that statistic at one point. I know the World Health Organization just published 1 out of 3 women. I honestly can't believe that it isn't 100%, that 4 out of 4, 10 out of 10, 100 out of 100 women are affected by any kind of inequity or abuse, because if you are affected by it, then I am affected by it. If my sister, my friend, my neighbor's aunt, if there's any woman in the world who is experiencing violence against her sacred self, then every woman in the world is experiencing that, in my opinion. And I think about the world that the youth of the world are so inspiring, because there's so many young people who really are claiming their voice. I want to give them as many tools as possible for feeling the strength that they have, and a lot that I see in the world, which is really encouraging. So let me continue to share the tapestry. I sew the story cloths together in panels, partly because the tapestry is very heavy, and I also need to be able to store it, and it needs to travel to be exhibited. But as you can see, the color, the texture, the diversity, the creativity, the power, the beauty our collective stories. When you see the tapestry, you may not be able to tell what everybody's story is, and it doesn't really matter. You can see that these people have taken the time and the effort and the thought, and have added, their energy to promoting compassion in the world, and it vibrates. It really vibrates. As I said, I wish you could be with it even here in person, so that you could really enjoy each one of these amazing, unique pieces of artwork that have been collectively stitched together into a community representation of lives from around the world. So currently the tapestry has story cloths from people all over the United States, from Canada, Australia, Bulgaria, Iran, Iraq, Syria, Afghanistan, and I have partners in New Zealand, in France, Germany. I'm trying to and I'm hoping to establish partners in the UK. And so if you're watching this, and if you're at the NGO and you are somewhere else in the world and you think that this would be a project that could be impactful in the work that you do, please connect with me. If you are watching this on YouTube and you're interested, please go to Women's Woven Voices. I send the Loom Kits out for free. I do ask for a little help with shipping. And there's also the instructions on how to make one yourself. If you work with young people, and I did say girls in the title, but how important is it for boys to have this exact same experience of focusing on what is important in the world, and also on the values that they can strive towards, and the compassion that they can feel and show in the world. So please connect with me if I can help you in any way, get the project out to young people. And I'm here at the NGO. I'm in the virtual booth. I'll be here for a few more hours today. I have another session that I'll be sharing tomorrow. And you can also leave me messages and connect with me. And I would love to connect with you. So thank you. And again, please, if you have any questions, I look forward to connecting with you.